Just do the damn thing. Do what you want to do. Buy the laser.
Buy the damn laser. Or as your husband said, buy the fucking laser.
Yep.
Yep, we agree.
And welcome back to the Riley Black Project. Crystal and John.
Hey.
How's it going?
It's going.
Good? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. We have a special guest, but he's silent.
Oh, I was like, who?
He's silent.
I need to name him too.
Yeah, he has no name yet. But
right now, he's Ghosty.
Yeah.
Ghosty Malone.
For Halloween.
Ghosty Malone.
Ghosty Malone. Uh-huh. That's cool.
I think that's his name.
Well, we have another special guest. Actually speaks well.
We didn't say who made it. Did you say who made it?
No, I didn't say who made it.
Ryan made it.
Ryan made it.
Ryan Schultz.
So see, Ryan, there's no sign, but your presence is still here.
It's coming.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Continue.
On to our real guest who speaks. Kristina Miller with the Millers Co. How's it going?
Hey.
Hi. It's going good. It's going good. How are you guys?
Good. Not too tired. I'm tired until it's time to go to bed. Right. And then once it's time to go to bed, I'm no longer tired.
Yeah. She almost went to go sit down on the couch. I'm like, where are you going?
I did.
We have a podcast.
Well, I saw him. He's like walking out of the room and he had like his shirt over his shoulder. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what is he doing? Is he cold? And then I had the immediate like, oh fuck. And like I knew it was today.
Yep.
I knew.
You reminded me earlier.
I did. This is how my brain works. Mm-hmm. I will remember and forget about 16 times in one day. Yeah. Especially when it's like outside of our like normal routine. Right. And right now we don't have a normal routine yet. Yeah. So yeah. So how we met at the Next Level Laser Conference in Dallas.
Yes. So fun.
Yes. Yeah. And she bought keychain thingies.
Oh.
Yes. I met her at my vendor table. I don't know, you were probably there.
I bought them since then. And I bought the Santa key things this last time because of my 6 and 3-year-old. You know, right. Mommy, what do people do that don't have a chimney? Oh, they use a very special key.
Yeah. They're so cute. I love those things. Like I was like,
I love how they're like vintagey looking, you know, like they're old timey Santa Claus keys. Right. So I haven't made tags for them yet, but you know, they're on that to-do list where when I go to bed and I toss and turn and
that list.
I think of all the things that I need to do.
Yeah. Right. I know I want to make a file that goes along with them, but that's on that same list of things to do that I may or may not ever get around to. Yeah. But they're adorable. I'm actually go ahead.
They say you should keep like a sticky notepad or a notepad next to your bed. That's when you think of all the things that you either forgot to do or that you need to do.
Right.
But your best ideas, you know, come out then.
Always right when I lay down. Or when you put them into my head when we're laying down. Yeah. That's always a very nice gift of yours.
Yeah.
So tell us about your laser journey. How did you get into lasers? What were you doing before that?
Hey there, podcast listeners. How great would it feel if this was the year you finally got to escape your 9-to-5 to embrace your lifestyle of creativity and entrepreneurship?
Every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, Eon Laser USA invites you to join the Freedom to Create webinar, where you'll learn how to make this a reality.
Join leading laser industry professional and brand ambassador Emily, aka That Mom with a Laser, and Eon Laser USA's sales manager Alicia as they dive into all things Eon.
Learn about the advantages of owning an Eon laser and get the scoop on Eon's rewards and partner benefits. Plus, get a glimpse at how everyday people who started out with zero experience paid off their lasers, scaled their businesses, and transformed their lifestyles.
So if you're ready for a lifestyle change, head over to eonlaser.us/whyus and sign up for the Freedom to Create webinar today.
Thanks for listening. Laser on.
Welcome to the revolution in laser engraving. Introducing Lens Digital, the creators of the game-changing Pyburn rotary attachment. With the Pyburn 4.0, you can turn ordinary cups, tumblers, glasses, and more into extraordinary masterpieces.
Looking to engrave niche items or want the functionality of a chuck rotary? Look no further than the Pyburn Grip, Lens Digital's chuck-style rotary. With a range of different sized jaws, you can easily engrave a wide variety of items. All Lens Digital products are compatible with most CO2 and Galvo lasers and were designed specifically for the laser industry. All that, paired with the best-in-class customer support, Lens Digital is your one-stop shop for all of your rotary needs.
Transform your laser engraving game with Lens Digital, where makers succeed. Unleash your creativity today.
And don't forget, we are proud Lens Digital affiliates as well. If you're shopping, code Riley Black will take $50 off any order of $600 or more.
So, where to start? We've been in business for about 4 years now, and we actually 5 years now, because our oldest is 6. And when I've always been crafty. I love arts and crafts. I love making things. And I found out a couple of years ago, after we already started the business, that my mom and grandma used to do craft shows. Wow. And we're like, I don't know, 2 years into the business, and she just randomly decides to tell me, oh yeah, your grandma and I did craft shows.
And you're like, what?
And I was like, you didn't think that would have been cool to tell me like before?
2 years ago, yeah.
So when I was pregnant with Charlie, our 6-year-old, a friend of mine had this fancy cutting machine that was called a cry cut, as everybody pronounced it that didn't know how to say what it was called.
That's so. So that's exactly not the cry cut. The silhouette was mine, but when I was pregnant with JR is when I started as well.
Yeah, it's a really cool little machine. It does a lot of really cool stuff. It doesn't touch Black Betty, but it does some pretty cool stuff. And she would make like little cute onesies. And, I was a first time mom, so I wanted all the cute, like matchy things. So I would order like matching Mommy and Me t-shirts from her, or little onesies from her. And Char was born in May. So that, I guess, spring, summer, fall, I would always be coming home with like new things, and my husband would be like, more, did we need more? But then she made like a onesie with a motorcycle on it, and the guy was like popping a wheelie, and it said like, my dad is cooler than your dad. So then he was like, okay, all right, this is kind of cool. So for Christmas that year, I got my very own cry cut.
Nice.
Probably because he was tired of me buying all the things from my friend.
Yeah.
So, I played around on it and made lots of cool iron-on vinyl things. And then he is amazing at building things. So I was like, if I make like decals for signs, can you build signs?
Yeah.
And, it's like, yes, I can. So he was so honored to be able to build these signs. And, you make your first sign and you're like so proud of yourself, and you think it's the most beautiful thing. And they were. Right. But now I look back at some of the first signs that we made, and I'm like,
yeah, same.
That is not good.
Right. Or like all the little
promotion.
All the little pieces. Yeah, all the little pieces I had to weed, or like the little, like, it was, there were so many that it was like, I remember that was a terrible decision. But like, especially if it's like an order, like you just have to like commit or like refund them because you're kind of like already in. Yeah.
Yeah. And some people are like, weeding is so therapeutic. Like, no, it's not. Weeding sucks.
It really sucks. And then like, I'm sure, I feel like it's happened to everybody, but like you forget that one little piece, and then you see you see that one little piece that you either forgot to weed out or that you didn't realize pulled off. And then for me, I never saw it. I didn't see it when I was pressing it. I didn't see it when I was folding it. I didn't see any other time during prep. I saw it when I was taking pictures.
Yeah.
And I was like,
don't go back and try to look for that dot.
No.
Like, you're not going to find the dot. Just recut it back out because you
so much quicker.
Up your piece.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone forever. Same thing with the laser. Yeah. If I think about it, I cut like 3 or 4 extra dots of the eye, and like if there's a C or a P or like something that's already waste, I'll cut 3 or 4 more because I know, and that's when I lose 0. But if I don't cut those 3 or 4 more, I'm going to lose it. And if I only cut 1 more, I'm going to lose them both. Because that's just how it goes. So, it's always.
I don't even want to open up the bottom of it and pull out the tray and look for it. I just cut another one.
I did that back in the day, like with a Glowforge once, and I was like, what am I doing? It takes literally 3 seconds to like pull that eye, copy, paste it a few times, cut it, and there you go. But then you're like, no, but I gotta go find it.
There's probably like a village of dots to eyes in the bottom of my laser right now.
They're hanging out with the missing socks.
Yeah, absolutely. So we started making, it was just me with all the ideas, and I made some cute little hand towels. I made a bunch of ornaments, and I'd say one of like the pivotal points was I learned I would tell people, if you want a special handwritten message, or if you have like love grandma on a card, like take a picture of it, send it to me. I would put it in Design Space. I would cut it out in vinyl, and I would put it on ornaments. And I remember this one year, it was the coolest thing. This woman bought a dozen just matte white ornaments, and I had taken Love Grandma off of a card and put it on all the ornaments, and she gave it to like siblings and cousins and stuff, and it was really cute. We put little like buffalo plaid bows on them. And then the following year came around, and she'd gotten out all of her Christmas decorations, and her grandma had passed away since before that Christmas. And she messaged me, and she was like, I totally forgot that I had these. I came across them in my decorations. They're so important to us. Like, we're so happy that we got them made. And like, she took the time to reach out to me and just tell me about it. And I was like, this is really cool. Like, we could be onto something here. So I was just sharing like on my own social media the things that I was making, and people were hitting me up, and they were like, hey, can you make this? Hey, can you make this? I was like, yeah, I can make this. And my husband was like, great, another friggin' square that I got to cut out in the garage. And I don't know if he would have ever volunteered to, because he calls them squares, right? Because he's cutting a frame, and they're a lot more improved now. But I don't know if he would have ever made those first few squares if he had known what we were really
I was just going to say, with those handwritten ones, I don't do them as much as I would love to, but they're so meaningful. And the fact that, like, for one, that she made it before her grandmother passed is awesome as well, because, like, they got to enjoy that before, you know, like after the fact. And because of those gifts, and because I know how much of an impact they make, like when I had my cameo, I made a pillow for my friend and her sister and her mom, for her, you know, her dad had passed. And so it was kind of like, pillows were awesome too, because like they could almost like hug it, like, you know, as if, and it's like, you know, it was his handwriting. But it just means so much. And so now we don't give a lot of cards anymore because everything's like digital. But anytime someone gives me a card, I make sure, especially if they wrote something in it, that like I hold on to that, because, you know, we don't write stuff down anymore. We don't really like write letters or, you know, anything like that. We've lost a lot of that. So keeping that stuff is super important, because, you know, once they're gone, a lot of times it's all you have besides pictures.
Yep. And of course, now that I've made it, I'm like going back and like looking for cards for my grandma. And I'm like, I didn't save any of them.
I know. It's so hard.
So I had the Cricut the year that Charlie was born, and then played around with it for a year. And then the following season was when we started just making stuff, and I sold a bunch of stuff that year, even without having a business, right? I had no business. I was just sharing it on social media. And then that Christmas night, and it says this on my website now, that Christmas night, a year later, everybody went to bed. Your house is wrecked, right? After Christmas, destroyed. There's shit everywhere. And I literally busted out my laptop, and I made a business Facebook page and just started going through the motions, and, you know, opened up an LLC and tried to understand all of the things I had to do. Because that, if I'll be honest, that's one of the biggest challenges for, I feel like, small businesses like us, is making sure that we do everything right that we're supposed to do.
Yep.
I was talking to Mark and Will at the Next Level Laser conference, and loved all the painting classes, the designing classes, but I was like, can you get like a Square representative to come in here and talk about Square and like a CPA and like all of those things? Because I feel like those are the things that we need to know, but we're so busy designing, they just kind of get pushed to the back burner until someone's like, hey, you forgot to do this.
Right.
Attention all laser owners and crafters. Are you tired of spending hours cutting, painting, and assembling laser products? Look no further than Crazy Laser Dad Laser Ready Blanks.
Their high-quality blanks are expertly sourced, tested, and ready to use with your lasers. Say goodbye to the hassle and frustration of time-consuming projects and hello to more time creating and selling.
Plus, with their wide selection of items, you'll surely find the perfect blank for all your customers.
So, what are you waiting for? Visit crazylaserdad.com today and take your laser crafting to the next level with their laser-ready blanks.
Speaking of all things laser, check out Houston Acrylic at houstonacrylic.com for reliable laser-tested and laser-approved materials.
Made for makers by makers, Houston Acrylic features over 450 styles of acrylic sheets. With over 50 new arrivals being released this month, Houston Acrylic is committed to bringing new and innovative styles to the laser community. My personal favorite is the matte. Anything matte. And I feel it's perfect for everything.
Don't forget to save 10% by using our exclusive coupon code TRBP10 at checkout. Get inspired today and visit houstonacrylic.com.
Do it.
Well, yeah, and I mean, you don't know what you don't know. So if you don't go into it or you don't Google the right things, and when you're Googling stuff, I think one struggle that might be with that class is that there's a lot of things that are like state specific. In some states you have to do this, and some states you don't. But generally, there's excuse me, some general ideas that are about the same, like the difference between sole proprietor and LLC and what's the benefits between all those, and when you should change from an LLC to what is
S Corp to an
S Corp.
LLC.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the S Corp.
The other way around.
Yeah. So, just things like that. And I mean, there's just so much, and like you're just trying to learn your craft, and then now you all of a sudden have to learn all this other stuff that, it's just and it can be a lot. And if you do it improperly, can get you in a lot of trouble too. So it's like, yeah,
absolutely. So I opened the business Christmas and then just hit the ground running, and I was legit cutting out decals and putting them on signs. And I was like, okay, we got to do something different. Like, this isn't that nice, right? People were super pumped about it, but we could do better. So then I bought a US cutter, like a Cricut on steroids, basically.
The big ones.
A 12-inch roll, which isn't really 12 inches on a Cricut because it's 11.5, okay? So don't tell me I can cut 12 inches when it's 11.5.
We can call it 12.
Round up.
So we got the US cutter. And we got some cool jobs out of that. We did some huge like wall decals at a local gym, like motivational quotes down our wall.
Nice.
And then I started cutting stencils and painting signs because that was much nicer than putting a fancy sticker on a sign.
Right.
So I did that for a while. And then these damn lasers started to take a big hit. And I was like, what is this? So I felt like every, craft show that I went to or expo with vendors like us, everything was 3D. And I was just thinking, if I'm really going to make this a thing, I need to offer 3D signs because this is what my industry is going to, and I'm going to have to evolve, or I'm not going to be able to compete with the people that are doing what I want to do.
Right.
But my profession, my background is dentistry. I've worked in dentistry for 16 years.
Yeah. There's actually quite a bit of like dentistry like professions So Stephanie Murphy, she was, I believe, a dental assistant before her, and now she does laser full time.
Right.
But she still, because of like her friends and coworkers and clientele and that kind of stuff, she still does a lot of like dental and like tooth themed things because that's just it was her life for a long time.
Right.
And so it was just like a easy transition. And so it's just if you ever look at her content, like she does a lot of dentistry items.
I totally believe it. I feel like I've seen a lot of dental crafters and then of course teacher crafters.
Definitely.
So I looked into lasers and I learned about the fancy glow forge, but the signs that we were already making were
much bigger.
2 foot by 2 foot, just big signs. And we just got this incredible like support from the community, and even the glow forge is like $6,000. And don't get me wrong, I wanted it, but I looked at my husband and I was like, I feel like we've already outgrown the size of this laser.
You did. So let me tell you, you probably know this, but you made a good decision because so anybody I ever talk to, if they have the budget, and now because of how expensive the glow forges are, if you have the budget for a glow forge, you often have the budget for an industrial laser, even if it's one of the smaller ones. And you going straight into it, you don't have to kind of go through that learning curve twice. Now, obviously, my learning curve from the glow forge to the Eon was a lot less, but it was also a lot more than I was prepared for because the glow forge, there's a lot you don't know when you own a glow forge. So like I had to learn a whole bunch of new stuff that was brand new that, and I like part of me kind of wishes I went straight into it, but it was the perfect transition for me just because if Amira 9 would have showed up on the doorstep like the first time, I would have. And I mean, you kind of told me in DMs when we were talking, it's nerve wracking. It's scary. It's like I'm gonna burn my house down. I'm gonna break it. Yeah, right. Yeah. So anybody who can just jump straight to it if they're going to like really try and make the business a thing, I highly recommend it because if you have the drive for it, you're going to outgrow your glow forge or a hobby laser really quickly. So
and now there's so many resources.
Right. Tons of resources.
Jumping in straight industrial.
Right.
When you first got your glow forge, the groups were really small.
Very small.
Compared to how they are now.
Yeah, I was in one glow forge group.
Right.
I think when I joined it, it was under 5,000 and it has like 40 something thousand now. And it was the only one I knew of.
Right.
There were other ones, but they were much smaller.
Right.
And there wasn't any courses. There wasn't a ton of YouTubes that were like the groups, not guns and American flags.
That's what I was saying. The groups that were available for the industrial ones were doing something completely different than what you guys are doing. So there's you
didn't do the pretty signs.
Yeah, there's a bigger community
those
now.
Groups,
so it's a little easier to jump in, and then also with the price hike, all that said, it's a good time if you're thinking of buying a laser to just jump in.
Right.
Maybe not 9, maybe a 7. Get a 7.
I mean, listen, I hated on the 7 a little bit.
Right,
I'm not gonna lie. And then I used Emily's, and I was like, "Oh, this cute little thing is nice."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The 7. The 7's a good hit.
It is.
It's a good piece.
And the 7 is still bigger than the glow forge.
Right.
Yeah. I was contemplating between the 7 or the 9 for a long time, but I wasn't just looking into Eon. I knew that a glow forge wasn't going to support where I wanted to go with it. So I started subbing out my laser work because I had a full-time job and I had 2 kids. And when you have a full-time job and you both work and you have 2 kids, You don't spend $13,000 on a toy.
Well, and it's a great way to test if the laser is for you without spending $13,000. Sub it out for a while. There's a million laser owners who are willing to help you, or who do that, or sell blanks or whatever. Yeah. And then you can try it out, see if your clients like it, see if your customer base is interested, see how it goes. And then if it goes well, then you can either save up, or now you have your proved concept that, okay, it makes sense for me to make this large investment.
Right. Or you have an audience already, you know? So I had a local friend that had a glow forge, but I knew I had the size limitation.
Right.
And I know what the speed time is like on a glow forge. And speed is not the right word to use.
No, you don't use speed in conjunction with Glowforge for the most part.
So I couldn't exactly get the size of signs that I wanted with that. And then I met a guy that had a boss. So I subbed out to him for a while, and we were totally different businesses. He does like mass production stainless steel tumblers for like government contractors and things like that. So I would like send him this cute snowman file from Etsy, and he was like, "What is this shit?" I was like, "Listen, don't make fun of me. This stuff sells."
Right. Don't hate. It's putting money in my pocket.
So I subbed to him for a while, and then I got a message from him, and he was like, "Hey, I sold my laser." And I was like, "What? First of all, why did you call me first?"
Right? And like, so, not going to offer it to me?
back to not having a person to sub to. And then I went to this huge expo, and I met this lady who was like the best painter I'd ever seen. And she lives in North Carolina. She travels for shows, big shows. And I asked her, I was like, you're not that far. I'm in Virginia. You're in North Carolina. Would you consider wholesaling to me? Like, I'll buy the files, and then I'll send them to you, or you can buy them and you can add it to my tab. And she was like, yeah, I actually have been wanting to start wholesaling. So I was like, perfect. So I subbed out to her for a while, and I still work in my day job. I'm managing dental practices. And I told my husband, I was like, I'm done. I want a laser. I've been watching the webinars and Danny's posts, and I knew. Eon was my front runner, but Eon was my front runner because the technical part of this, I got nothing, right? Like joining the call today, I was like, oh my God, please work.
I know. When I sent her the link, I was like, this is taking a little longer than I thought it was going to.
So one of the biggest things with Eon is the support.
Me too.
And you don't get that if you buy an Omni or a Boss or what's the other?
OMTech.
Yeah.
You have to be really like technical, or willing to be technical with the OMTech. There's a lot of people who love them, and if you are technical, it's a great machine, especially as a starter. If you want a starter, because you have to learn a lot about it, because it might need some tinkering. But I'm not the tinkerer at all, and I was like, nope, can't do it.
I'd rather spend my time making the things and finding out what events are the best ones to go to than messing with the laser. I almost considered a Thunder because I knew I wanted big. I wanted big, but the price tag was haunting. It's terrifying. And when I told my husband, I was like, I'm done. I want to quit my job. I want a laser. Like, the business has proven itself over and over again. We can do this. And he was like, fine, buy a fucking laser. And I said, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Say that again.
And he said, just buy it. Just do it. And I was like, okay.
Right?
So I literally went to work the next day, and I had seen that Eon was having a webinar and that they were going to give away something, whether it was like a discount or give away something with a laser to the first 3 people that bought a laser from the webinar. I went into this webinar, I'm going to be one of these 3 people.
Right.
I don't know what I'm about to get, but I'm going to get something.
Right.
So literally the webinar was like in the middle of the day at work.
Right.
So I remember telling my girls, I'm taking my lunch. And then I went to my car and they were like, Kristina never goes to her car during lunch.
Right.
And I literally opened up my laptop and I sat in my car for the whole webinar.
I love it.
And bought my laser. I decided to go with the 9.
Mm-hmm.
And to my surprise, I was so stoked. What I got for free was Emily's Laser Launch Academy.
Nice.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, this is so perfect. This is exactly what I needed.
Yeah.
So got the laser. The only thing that was a bummer is, you get the content from Emily when her next class starts.
Right.
But I didn't have the laser yet.
Oh, right.
But they tell you how to like set up light burn with a ghost laser so you can like play around with it. So I did that a little bit. Still subbing out my laser work in the meanwhile because Black Betty's not here yet.
Right.
I'm redesigning my laser room to my husband. We're going to put brick paneling up. We're going to whitewash it. We're going to do this. And he's just like, So the laser gets here a few months later, and he was on a freaking hunting trip in Kansas when it got here.
Oh,
and,
of course.
Unloaded it perfectly, put the crate in the garage. It was a little bit cold. It was January.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, I was freaking out. And he was like, don't touch it. Don't touch it till I get home.
Right.
Don't try to move it.
Right.
And I'm like, I just want to look at it.
It's only 500 pounds.
So I was like, fine, I'll leave it alone. And then I think I texted him one night. I was like, where's the crowbar?
He's like, no.
Don't touch it. I touched it. I opened it. And I just looked at it. And I swear, like, when I opened the lid, it was like, oh. I was so
all the angels sang.
Yeah. So he gets home, and he brings, like, the 2 strongest dudes from the gym and himself.
Mm-hmm.
This thing, it came inside, and we couldn't clear. My basement, of course, goes down, and then there's a platform. And then it turns.
Yep.
So that was a problem. And we couldn't get it through the door, not because it wouldn't fit. And Lindsay, my sales rep, and I have gotten
Lindsay's so great.
Good friends.
Yeah.
She's the best. She loves you.
Well, ditto.
She was like, it will fit, Kristina. I'm telling you, it will fit. You're just scared. I'm like, fucking right, I'm scared. What if I break it? So we finally got it down, like, in our next attempt, which was, like, 2 days later. So now I waited all this time, years, and then for it to get here, and then for it to come inside, and then we couldn't get down the first platform, so we waited upstairs for 2 days, and then we get it down to the first platform, and we couldn't get it down the second flight of stairs. So it literally sat on the platform for about a week, and then, like, the dads in the neighborhood were like, I can help you. And I'm like, you know what?
Hold
whatever.
my beer.
At this point, whatever.
Right.
And I'll be damned if the dad bods in the neighborhood and my husband.
It's always the dad bods.
Dads get shit done.
We're sturdy.
Yeah.
We're sturdy.
Very sturdy.
They moved it down the stairs. They
Nice.
got it down the stairs. And we had one little casualty. There's a scratch on the side of it. But it's not in any of my videos, so I'm okay with it.
Right.
Just as character. You
And,
put a logo sticker right on the
Right,
scratch.
yeah.
It's called branding.
Yeah.
Right.
So I hit the ground running. I mean, I was terrified.
Mm-hmm.
And I still had my full-time job. This is just in January of this year.
Nice.
Still had my full-time job and took Emily's course over again.
Right.
Just for like refresher to actually practice.
Yeah. A lot of people do that actually. And I think a lot of people enjoy that because for one, it makes when you get your laser a little less scary because you have some like knowledge and it may not all make sense, but then like you'll have a lot of probably more of those like aha moments because you're like, I don't really know what she means by that. And then you get it and you're like, oh. And then as with anything, when you watch something a couple times, you get something else. Right. You get something new that you didn't hear or see the first time. So there's a lot of people who take her course before they get it. And because, you know, a lot of times you're waiting a couple months. So it gives you something to do. And everyone's always asking, like, what do I buy? What do I do while I'm waiting? Like, sure, buy the material so that you can test stuff and play around when it gets there. But learning your software, Lightburn, if you editing software, if you're not going to use Lightburn, Silhouette, Illustrator, whatever, learning those before it gets there is super important, because it's no more frustrating than like getting your laser and wanting to make something and you're like, well, now I don't know how to use the program to like make a simple ornament or whatever you're trying to make. So yeah.
I loved her course. It was super helpful. I probably bothered her a little more than I should have. And, you know, sometimes I would reach out to her and she'd be like, you know, go to this chapter or this session, this module. Right. Emily, just give me the answer. Just give me the answer.
Right.
But it was super helpful. So, and then my husband is a lover of hats. Loves hats.
Same.
And he was like, let's make hats. And I said, okay, why not? And he was like, if we're going to sell hats, they have to be Richardson, because we're not going to buy some Bobo brand hats. They're going to be Richardson hats. So, you know, I start shopping suppliers and found a couple, and we have probably done a couple thousand hats at this point. We sell them to businesses. We do small business logos, government contractors. I'm close to DC and some military bases. Nice. So that's been really, really huge. And then I kind of wanted to just learn more, right? So then this next level laser conference was coming up, and we were making all of the things. So I told my husband, I was like, I want to go to this conference and meet, you know, like-minded people and meet some of the people that I look up to.
Right.
And I had learned about the Eon Partner Program, and I had just done that before I left. And I was like, I'm going to record content. I'm going to share what I'm doing, because it's terrifying.
Yeah.
And if we, you know, can help motivate anyone to take the leap of faith and do something, then I want to help.
Right. And make it just a tiny bit less scary. Like, it doesn't have to be scary, because there's so many of us who have done the scary stuff before you, who can like give you advice. And like, I always joke with people when they have their first collision and they like panic, lose their mind, freak out. And I'm like, welcome. This is the rite of passage. We all do it. We all lose our mind. We all think we've completely ruined the machine. And most of the time, you just made your laser head not square anymore and need to replace the pin on, like, you're on your autofocus. And like, that's the worst of it. And like, or maybe you might need an alignment. Like, and listen, mirror alignments suck, but you know, like it doesn't have to be scary. So let us, you know, help make it a little bit less scary.
Yeah. I have a bin of all of the freaking autofocus pins that I had bent and gotten stuck in there. And I remember I made a post in the Eon group and I was like, oh, I bent it. It's broken. And I think Dawn commented and she was like, welcome to the club.
Right, exactly. It's like, it's legit the rite of passage, because like it makes the most god-awful, terrible noise. And you're just so sure, like, oh, great. It's just, now it's a however many $1,000 paperweight. And
it looks horrible,
it
right?
does.
Your pin is like an L.
Right. So, and they're like, yeah, just unscrew it and we gave you several more. Just put the next one on.
Yeah, and they're like $15 to replace.
Nothing. Yeah.
Before.
Right.
So I remember a few months later, somebody else had gotten their laser, had their first, you know, impact and bent their pen. And I saw it and I commented and I said, welcome to the club.
Right. Well, there's always like a couple
Now's my chance.
Right. There's always a couple like laugh reacts too. And they're not like, we're not laughing at you. I swear. Like, it's just, we've been there. So we know the pure panic. We know how it feels. But we also know it's not the end of the world. And it literally happens to anyone. Every single person I know with a laser has had a collision with the head of their laser or an autofocus pin, even if they don't have it. We also have the people who, forget to open their blast gate and then start the laser, or forget to turn on their blower and start the laser. Like, we've all made these mistakes. And once you make them, you either continue to make them, or you laugh, or you make them a little bit less. But it's absolutely. Totally just part of it.
I know someone who had something in their hose for a while and didn't even know it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that somebody also told the other somebody to look in said hose for that thing, and that person said it wasn't there.
Yeah.
So weird. You guys have the same anonymous conversations
right?
that we have at our house.
Literally fell out after.
Oh my God. So funny story. Funny now. So Heather, she bought her Mira before I bought mine, and we got the like super heavy duty like tubing that a lot of people get on Amazon. Well, it's several $100s, and it's like you can only get like 25 feet. Well, typically
you get way too much.
Yeah, typically you need like 4 to 6 if you're lucky, right? You don't need that much. And even she needed like 2, because where she was venting, it was literally like straight out the wall.
And your vent shouldn't even be that long to begin with.
Right. So she mailed me some, and at the time she was living in Pennsylvania. She was living in Philly, and so she sent it to me along with a bag. So we were going to initially try and go to her wedding, but we couldn't go because of the kids. And so she still sent us like what everybody got who was going to the wedding. She sent us that. Bag. And then don't all yet, because it doesn't end well. And then she also bought some of the Searmark marking spray, and she had bought like, they were like BOGO or something. So I bought one of them, and she packed all of that inside the tube and put it in the box. Well, when we got the box, we searched everything, and we're like, it's not here. Like, we don't see it. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. I had him check the tube like 2 or 3 times.
And it didn't fall out.
He's like, shaking it, putting it all over the place. Nothing's falling out. And we're like, and it was like this whole thing. She was like, I know I put it in there. And I'm like insisting that it's not there. Right. So 2.5 years go by, and we move to our new house, which this is the new house. And we've been here for a couple months. And when we were moving the laser,
we finally got electrical done in the garage, and it was time to set up the laser and test it out. So I hooked up the tube, and I got to move the tube around, and guess what falls out of the tube?
The bag,
the dusty,
and the Searmark, and it was in part of the tube that I'd been using with my laser.
Yeah.
It was covered in laser dust.
But shouts out to the blower of the 9,
man,
because we did not smell it. Like,
I mean, there was a little bit, and I wanted to like kind of investigate, and I thought it was like my connection. It was probably the damn log that we had in the middle.
The clog.
Blocking everything.
The blockage.
Being pushed out.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And I almost didn't tell Heather. Thankfully, Heather has been working on herself, and she's not as loose cannon, or not like, her fuse is not as short anymore. She's done a lot of inner work. And if it wasn't for that inner work, I would have never told her. I would have taken it to the grave. It would have just been that missing Searmark that we never found. Yeah. And I told her, and I sent her a picture of the it was almost, the bag was almost unrecognizable.
Yeah.
And I sent it to her, but you could see, like, I think it was your keychain, and it said like John had like a little chip out of it, and it was like the keychain, and she was like, I go, look what we just found, and she goes, oh my God. And then it was worse because she was right, and Heather right is not ever a fun thing. She was like, I fucking told you. I'm like, yeah. Yep. So there's that story. I don't know where we were going before that.
Super fun. Hey, she said she packed it. She did.
It. She legit packed it, and it's still there. Well, we took it out now, but
Yeah.
Yeah. So what were we talking about before? Yeah.
the conference. When I went when I went to the conference, I wanted a friend. I wanted one person, right, that I knew to go with me. So I hit up the North Carolina laser chick who I had met one time and been subbing my stuff out to. And I was like, you want to go to a laser conference with me? I know we don't know each other, but do you want to share a hotel room and come? 5 seconds later, I got a text back, and it was like, hell yeah, I do.
Nice.
Yes.
Let's go.
So we literally met in Texas and shared a hotel and did the whole conference together, and then met these, I think, 3 or 4 other women, and just have become like laser friends. We have our own private text chat. It's called Laser Queens.
I love it.
And we are all going to the Lightburn conference together in October.
I'm jelly.
And if there's any big takeaway from this whole laser journey, is the laser community comes out, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the best community
It
ever.
Really is.
Yeah,
it's nothing like it's nothing like the vinyl community like that. I didn't really find any like friends in there. There was no one I really like kind of latched onto or anything. And now, like, I mean, the laser community has literally become like my friends. Like, we still have a chat from the first conference that never went away. We talk almost all day, every day about the most random shit. Sure, there's a lot of laser stuff too, because we all like live and breathe it. But then there's also like, oh, like this happened, or my dog did this, or my kid did this, or, you know, it's all of that too. Yeah. And then, you know, we've all had like, this has been like a really rough year, I think, for a lot of us. And unfortunately, but fortunately for like that group and many other like people who are kind of like in a bunch of little like side groups, you know, when something happens to one of us, we all like step up and like immediately are there for them, either offering to help them with orders or, you know, finding or something broke. Oh, I have one of those, or whatever. And I mean, like, you know, when John's grandmother passed, all of a sudden we had a $300 like DoorDash gift card and like a care package, like a spoonful of comfort with like food and 2 of the most like softest blankets ever. And it's just like, and that was the laser community, you know, they didn't have to do that. We didn't ask them to do that. But when they did, it was like, it was exactly what we needed in that moment. And it just, it's happened so many times, and we do that for the next person when they're going through a rough time. And it's just, it really is like, you know, just the best community ever.
Yeah, they say that when you start a journey like this, someone you meet online or on social media is always the first person to cheer you on and like your stuff. Sometimes
100%.
Before the friends that you've had for 20 years.
Yep.
And if that ain't the truth, I mean, these girls, I mean, it's, hey, I want to try a new paint. What do you use? What's the best glue? And then I was gluing everything.
Oh, no, girl.
Because I didn't want to spend the money on that 3M.
I know, I did it too. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think I have like the biggest roll that you can buy now.
I have 3 of those.
And I understand why it's so expensive, because it is so very worthy.
It's a life changer. It's a literal life changer. And then the worst part, when I finally pulled the trigger and I bought one of those big expensive rolls, and not a lot of people were selling them in the sheets yet. Like, I think on Amazon you could get like 12 by 12 sheets, and like that didn't really make sense. And they were kind of expensive for how much you got. And so the roll made the most sense. And so I got the really expensive roll. And then I was scared to use it. I'm like, what's going to happen? Like, how do I use it? Do I need to change my settings? Do I need to increase my power, my speed, whatever? And so then I got it, and then I still was scared to use it once I got it. And then Heather had used it again before me. This is typically how our whole relationship goes. And so she's like, fucking use it. It's great. Like, stop using glue. Just use it. I'm like, fine. So I took the extra like couple minutes that it took, and I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck was I doing? Like,
the best stuff ever. Especially with signs.
Yes.
cut a back and you like our frames are routed, our backs are inset, like they're biased opinion, but they're really well made signs. And then you spend all this time cutting and painting, and then you put too much glue and your glue seeps out and you're like, burn it, just burn it.
Just like cry a lot and then burn it and then you do it all over again. Glue is the worst. Glue is like jump rings. You go from glue to 3M and you go from jump rings to keychain thingies. It's what you do.
Keychainthingies.com.
The best ever.
Yeah, for sure.
So just having the community, having people that have been through the same things that you're going through. And then it's been really nice. I mean, I've only been operating my own laser since January, but just having people that are coming to me now and being like, hey, should I really buy it? You know, because they're exactly where I was. And I know I told you earlier, my only regret with my laser so far is that I was a chicken shit for too long. Because I can't imagine where I would be now had I bought my own laser years ago. I mean, my end goal, and my husband's probably rolling his eyes if he's listening, is I want a brick and mortar. I have paint and sip classes. I have team building painting classes. And I have great relationships with local venues now. And, you know, I bring the people and they open their venues to me. But I want my own store. And I'm like, man, if I had done this sooner, would I already have been there now? And then
maybe, but so you might not have been in the right place too. I feel like
you're right where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
It's hard.
That's totally the truth. So we got it in January, and then in March, I quit my full-time job.
Nice.
And I just ran our business. And 2 months ago, I did accept a full-time job, but it was not anything that I could say no to with where we were. So I was like, you know what, I'll do it. I'll do it as a vessel and it'll be great. And I like the job. I miss what it's taken me away from during the day, but we just hustle twice as hard at nighttime now, honestly, what it comes down to. And, you know, nobody ever wants to share like monetary values out into the open. But I can say from the time I got my laser to summer, I did in sales with my laser what I did the entire last year. In sales. So if you have a plan and you have a business idea, you know, you already have the hard part. I already knew I wanted to make signs and hats. And when I got it, we just rocked it out, and it has paid for itself tenfold. You just have to be more excited and motivated than you are scared.
Well, and keep trying when something fails. Like it's failing is you learn something every single time something doesn't work well. You learn what to do better next time. You maybe learn, okay, this one particular project isn't for me. You know, you learn all of those things from any failure or mishap. You learn what orders you're not going to take anymore and which ones aren't worth your time or not worth your time at that price. Oh my God, yes. That one of my favorite points in my business was when I have an eyelash that's falling off.
That was his favorite part?
That was my favorite part. Right? Total girl problems. But my favorite part in my business was when I no longer felt like I had to say yes to everyone. It was when I felt comfortable saying no, and then I wasn't like, what do you mean you're saying no? You need that money. And it's like, not all money is worth it. Not all money is good money. Not all orders are good orders for your business, because I was taking some that were actually more detrimental than they were like, you know, beneficial in the money that I was getting. I mean, there's some signs that I look back and I'm like, I charged what for that? Like not nearly enough. And it took me, you know, when I was new, things would take me days rather than hours, you know? So I'm getting $40 for something that took me several days because I had to paint it. I had to glue it. I had to, you know, I was having maybe issues with my plywood because it wasn't the best material. Just all of those things, but they all lead you to like the path that's yours, you know? Right. And I mean, you're one of the few, I think, that go into it like, oh, I want to make these things and actually make those things and continue to like them, because there's a lot of people, me included, I thought I wanted to make all those nursery signs. And I was like, "Ooh, those are they're so cute." I made 2, and that's about it. I mean, so let me say, I made 2 the way that I thought I wanted to make them, with the rounds and the name and like something else, right? But I made a couple other ones that were like square and a little bit different, and like I've made like just the name cutouts. But for the most part, that's been a very, very small piece of my business. And then I also have like anxiety about everything, and I don't want to make anything that goes into a kid's room that, like, God forbid, is not like hung well or falls down or they touch it or whatever. And I'm like, nope, can't do it anymore. Like, if it's a friend or family member, maybe. Yes. Well, and then they're going over cribs, and like at the time, because again, early on when I was doing this was 4 or 5 years ago, a lot of times the only thing that you could find for the round backer was those heavy ass Home Depot like stool tops or whatever they were. They were so heavy. They're like 5 pounds, huh?
We got one over there.
Yeah, we have several over there, and I need to sell those.
We stopped putting hardware on nursery signs.
Yep.
For that reason. I'll give you the hardware in a bag with your nursery sign, but you can choose what hardware you want to hang it with.
Well,
and like
my insurance actually recommended that. My business insurance.
What's the liability with this? Should I be doing this? So we were just like, you can put your own hardware on, but you really just need to know what like your business model is. And since I got the laser, I've stopped doing anything that doesn't involve the laser anymore. I mean, I can make t-shirts. Yeah, I have a press and I can sublimate, but I say no to t-shirts all the time. I don't want to make t-shirts. It's not what makes me happy.
Yep.
It's just, you have to know what your business model is and what your specialty is.
Yep.
And ours is definitely signs and hats.
Yeah.
It's what the people come out for to see us. And I try to keep in mind, if I see it at Hobby Lobby, don't make it. Because I can't compete with Hobby Lobby prices, you know? So don't ask me to make you a sign that says Happy Fall.
Yeah. Right.
You can buy it for $5 at Hobby Lobby. I want to make like the things that tug on your heartstrings. Like, tell me what your wedding lyrics are.
Right.
Give me the latitude, longitude where your man proposed to you. Like, let me make this special things.
I agree.
So
where do you see it going now that you kind of like took a little bit of a turn, accepting the position and then doing this kind of like at night and on your days off and that kind of stuff? Like, so where, like, what's your next few business goals as far as that goes?
Sure. So I work at the hospital now, and I've been there for 2 months. And I don't know how I can say it, but we are still doing the same volume with the business as we were when I was working full time. And it's funny because I was sad and excited for the new job, and my best friend was like, "You'll find a New Balance. You do all the things. You'll be fine."
Well, and if it's something you enjoy, you'll find time to make it happen. Yeah.
If she hasn't been right, and having the job has kind of afforded me the opportunity to do other things, like use it as a vessel for the business. So with having such big signs and big door leaners and a huge setup, when I go, because I still do markets even with the custom orders that we do, I am the first one there and I am the last one to leave, and I can't go in one car. We're going in a truck and an SUV. And we had a 2-day wine and oyster festival this weekend.
Yeah.
And they see like 10,000 people. And I looked at my husband and I was like, "I'm done doing this." And he was like, "I know you're about to ask for something, because when you come to me and say you're done, it means you're going to buy something else."
Trailer.
And we're not quite ready for a store right now, because when I finally open up doors to the Miller Co., I want to be the one to run it. I don't want to hire people to run my store and chase my dream. So we are going to open up a mobile boutique.
Nice.
So we are going to buy a trailer, and if it's not already gutted, gut the shit out of it.
Yeah.
And it's going to be all the LVP and the shiplap. And I picked out some trailers and I would text them to John, and he's like, no, we need a trailer. And I'm like, no, we need a chandelier, and we need power, and we need an AC unit inside of it.
Yeah.
And
you should get like a nice like fifth wheel.
Yeah. So
and like, make the whole thing like a
But I mean, it would solve so many problems with as big of our setup is, as
setup, breakdown.
And then just all of the storage, right? When I switch from one season to the next, I mean, if I'm lucky, I'll sell majority of my stuff. If not at a show, on the website.
Yeah.
But where am I putting all of these totes when I'm not at a function?
Right.
And the trailer also solves that problem, and then the kids they're a little young right now to come to shows with us. I started hosting my own markets as well. And I always have the whole family come because it's a family business and I like to showcase that.
Right.
So they'll come to markets for a little while. But if I had an enclosed trailer with an AC and doors, like they could come and hang out with me and I wouldn't miss them all weekend long, which is tough.
Right.
Yep. Nice.
So that's kind of our next move. But I've been talking to Lindsay.
A school bus, that would be fun.
Have you seen what they can do with school buses?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You should get a school bus.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. That would be awesome.
So cool.
Pretty pimped out.
You get like the marquee in the front. Instead of saying school bus, it says the Miller Co.
Yeah. What? Now I want one.
Huh?
Stop.
And then you open up that emergency.
Can I give you my husband's phone number?
You open that emergency door, and that'll be the entrance. Of the emergency door, and then
we could
steps up.
We could have a mobile podcast studio.
I've been thinking about that.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, I already have designs.
But
you could like soundproof the whole bus.
Right? You held all this in?
All we need is we don't even need we just need a van. A conversion van.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
We can start there.
Yeah, you just open those two doors.
And we can have like convoys, right?
Right. The laser. Yes, and you guys have all your markets, like each trailer set up, because there's several people who have done similar things and travel with them, and then we could just interview customers and the other laser
I thought about it at the laser conference. Because we did our live podcast.
Yeah.
And, it would be awesome if we had a van or something outside.
Well, and it was fun to do that one somewhere else. It was nice. I like it.
Very cool.
Yeah, but a school bus.
So that's kind of, what was that?
I said, but a school bus. A school bus would be cool.
That would be.
I feel like.
I really like that idea. I mean, everybody, mobile bars. I mean, there's mobile everything.
Yeah.
Or like an Airstream. I see you in an Airstream or a school bus.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I like both of those.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see which one you get. From no expenses of our own.
Where we're at now.
Right. And sorry to your John for any ideas that we've put in your head that.
I've been itching for a project. He does a lot of home renovations, and we kind of tapped into our market for that as well. People would, because obviously he's handy, he can build things. So we would shiplap and tile our fireplace, and I would stage it all cute with our stuff, and then people would be like, can you do that for us? Yeah, I can make you the sign. No, can your husband come shiplap my fireplace? And I was like, yeah, he can.
Right.
So we did that a little bit, and it's really fun, but with both of us having 2 full-time jobs, I mean, a renovation like that, that's a lot. So back to staying in your lane.
I mean, so that's a good point. Because we're all so crafty or handy husbands or whatever, it can be hard to stay focused on one thing because we have the skills to do several things. We have the drive to do, all the things.
Or the resources.
Yeah.
Because YouTube is amazing.
Right. And so it's really hard to just pick one thing. And you and I all the time are we could do this kind of YouTube channel, or we could do this kind of, and it's like, it's hard to not do all of them, because the more you do, then the less time there is to dedicate to each one. But it's so tempting to just add another thing.
Whatever trailer you do get, at the very least, set up a GoPro somewhere.
Yes.
And time lapse everything and post it
for
on
sure.
YouTube Shorts or whatever.
You gotta follow your journey.
People love watching.
I love watching that.
The time lapse of things turning from
any
like
type of. They're the best.
Yeah.
Everything is content.
Everything is content. And if you need an editor, I know a guy.
Right.
Send me a Riley Black sticker. I'll put it on the trailer.
100%. I got you. I got magnets. I got stickers. I got shirts and tumblers. What you need.
We got merch.
Right? All the above. So speaking of content, where do people find your content?
Yeah, so we're on all the things. We're on Facebook. It's at The Millers Co. with an S. We are on Instagram at The Millers Co. And we are on TikTok at The Millers Co. And I wish that I was on YouTube, because then I would have had another way to enter the contest when Eon was giving away the laser. But I'm just not the best YouTuber. I mean, maybe my 6-year-old could give me some lessons. But
he can give you some lessons.
What's the hang up?
What?
What's the hang up?
I don't know. I've gotten so used to social media platforms, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. It's just another platform, another thing to check. And let's be real, as a small business owner, managing your social media is a whole job.
Yeah, it really is. Like, so when we post about the podcast, I have to post in our Facebook group, our Facebook page, Instagram stories, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. Yeah. And it takes me, mind you, a lot of this is like copy and pasted. I do have to like adjust some formats, because Instagram you can't do links, and TikTok I have to change, like, just like, and YouTube Shorts, it literally gives you like 19 characters. It feels like, I think it's 100, but it feels like 19. And so like I have to shorten everything, and like, so like I can use some of it, like, but I have to do something, and it takes me like 35-45 minutes to post about the episode. And like with kids, like I swear so many times I'm like, oh, this is something where I don't need like 100% focus. I can do this like, around them. And then it's like, I'll start on and I'll get Facebook done, and then I never get back to Instagram, TikTok, or you know what I mean? Like there's always like something that missing. I don't finish, because I'll get distracted by, oh, it's time to eat, or they're fighting, or someone hurt themselves. You know what I mean? Right.
Somebody poops on the floor.
Yeah, somebody named Panda. And I mean, our kids might too someday. But
luckily, they haven't yet.
They haven't.
Knock on wood, they haven't yet.
This is gonna happen now.
That's another class that Mark and Will need at a laser conference. Is if people should share what they make, because that is how I got to where I'm at. Is just sharing the cool things that I'm making. But if they don't know, like, how do they get the spaces in their caption on Instagram? Well, there's this other app called Insta Space, and you copy and paste it, and then you can put spaces between your words. Like, who knows that?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Right.
So, but I mean, share what you're making. The creative mind is such a beautiful thing. And for me, helping people bring their homes to life, or when I do team building, helping bring people together, and see what they can make. It's just, when I go to people's houses and I see our stuff on the walls,
it's just crazy. Yeah. It's
very,
so cool
very
to see. Yeah, and like if they're using our tumbler, or like we go to their house and like we see like our magnet on their fridge, or our magnet on their laser, it's like, oh.
Yeah. The coolest thing is when you see someone that you don't know, and they have something that's yours. You're like, somebody bought that for me for you.
Right. Yeah, that's cool.
So it's pretty cool.
Nice.
We have, those local talks, like in your community. Like we have one called Stafford Talk, and it's like 100,000, maybe not 100,000, 50,000 people are in the group, and it's like, looking for laser cut signs. And if it is not the coolest damn thing to see your business name get tagged and
several
by
times,
people you know,
right?
I mean, it's the best feeling ever. It makes you feel like your hard work really is paying off and being noticed by your peers and your community.
Well, and like you said, by people you don't know. My favorite thing is when someone brings up like the keychain thingies and like there's a post and then all of a sudden I get like 4 tags and I'm like, what's going on? And then I go in there and then there's like, you know, my friends and customers, but you know, my friends who like always, you know, if they see a post, they'll like tag and let people know. And then there's like the people, the 3 or 4, you know, people who are like, oh, you know, I use her too, or I use them too. They're the best. And it's like, oh, I don't even know you. Thank you so much. You know what I mean? Like it just, it means more because it just like you don't even like have a personal connection to me and you really have like no other reason, you know, besides helping out obviously the person on the post, but to like shout me out, like you took that time to one, help that person but then tagging them helps me as a business. So yeah, it really does. It means a lot. Yeah.
I mean, I know we're not celebrities, but it makes you feel like a celebrity. Like when I met Emily at the laser conference,
Celebrities.
I was fangirling, right?
Yes.
So I met her and Will, and then I get to meet Sumita at the Lateburn conference.
Yep.
And they're like celebrities in my world to me.
Yep.
So when our little daughter is 3, about to be 4, so we were, you know, just running with the business when I was pregnant with her. And when I went to the hospital in labor, the labor and delivery nurse was like, I knew I was going to see you. And I was like,
huh?
Who are you? And she was like, I knew you lived in the area because of your business page. And I've been following you. And I knew you were pregnant. And this is the closest hospital. So I knew I would get to meet you.
Wow, I mean, that's so crazy.
Made me feel like the biggest celebrity in the whole world. And I felt a little bit embarrassed at the same time.
So my first fangirl moment was when I was mid panic attack on the way to that conference. And I'm like so it was the first conference, not the one I actually met you at. But funny enough, it was a layover in Dallas. And I almost missed my plane. So I'm like full on panic. I hate traveling by myself. And so like I just literally ran across the ginormous airport that is Dallas. And so I get on the plane and I'm finally like starting to like calm down. And I hear Crystal and I'm like, what the fuck? like I'm not even in Sacramento. And I'm like, oh God. I'm like, what? That can't be. They don't mean me. There's another Crystal. Like they're talking to the girl behind me, kind of like when you talk to your husband, you're like John, and mine goes, huh? Yeah. So I'm like waiting for that. It's not happening, and it's like it's funny now because you know she's amazing. It's Terry West, but she like had her fangirl moment and I was legit like just mid panic attack trying to calm down and it made it super weird, super awkward.
Why do they gotta catch us at our bad moments?
Right? So yeah, but then like it was also such, especially once I calmed down, it was such an amazing experience. Like just that first time that you're recognized like outside of like
in the wild.
In the wild is what I said. And like you see how much of an impact you make on people and you don't realize it. Cause like for them to get so excited about like, you know, we're just normal people. We're all really a hot mess when it, you know, deep down. And when they get all excited about it, you're like, what? It's awesome. Again, it just goes back to the laser community being just that awesome. And even we don't realize how much, you know, we help and like make an impact on, you know, the people around us. So, and that's why it's so awesome is because there's so many of us who do.
Yeah. We're getting a little bit overpopulated.
Right. It's okay. So, but then, you know,
it's a humbling experience to even begin to be that person for someone else because so many people have been that person for me. So to think that somebody is like, oh, I know who you are because you do this, like just encourage everyone to, I don't say, one of my slogans that I put on some of my stuff was don't follow your dreams, chase them. Mm-hmm. So just do the damn thing. Do what you want to do. Buy the laser.
Buy the damn laser. Or as your husband said, buy the fucking laser. Yep. We agree.
Best thing I ever did. Should have done it a lot sooner, but best thing I ever did.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being on the show with us. And
Thank
you guys stick right there. We'll be right back with our life update. And we're back. That was a fun podcast.
It's always fun, but it was a good one.
Yeah,
it was easy to talk to, and it was kind of funny how the a lot of them have like the vinyl cutters, but like the vinyl cutter when you were pregnant or when you just after you had your 6-year-old, because we also have a 6-year-old. Same 6-year-old that helped create this business. So it was a good one.
Yeah. So we have a trip coming up.
We do. And I mean, so this trip it's several milestones for us.
Yes.
It's a lot. We've taken,
we're celebrating a lot.
Yeah, we've taken some like mini trips, like a weekend or a couple days. Or like we did leave for the conference.
I mean, the conference
in
was the
Dallas.
biggest.
That was the big one. That was a big one. My sister crazily said yes and came out and watched the boys. But that wasn't a vacation, because it was a lot of work. Right. And it was amazing and it was fun. Yeah. But it was mostly work with some fun mixed in. And so this one is just fun. Yeah. Like, I'm going with Heather to celebrate her birthday. Mm-hmm. And so obviously just laser talk will come up because we live and breathe it. But it's not like for work. Right. And I'm not crying. I have like a weird hiccup thing going on.
Yeah, you're not going to be presenting. We're not going to be selling
I don't have to prepare anything, except what I realized was like a couple weeks before, I was like, I don't have clothes for this. I live in our logo shirts, branded shirts. Regular like laser creative life shirts and capri yoga pants and tennis shoes. And I'm like, sure, I could wear that like the day we get there and the day we leave, but like what am I going to wear the rest of those days?
When we're lounging by the pool.
Right. And I don't even have swimsuits that fit anymore. Like I don't have like day clothes, by the pool clothes, tropical clothes. I live in Florida, but I live in those clothes. I live inside and I live in those clothes that I talked about. So I was like, crap. And I had to like find like sandals and shoes and just
lots of Amazon returns.
Yeah. Lots of Amazon because returns. Who shops in an actual store anymore. We did that today. And while it was nice, it also kind of really sucked. I wanted to just not be there
in the store.
But it was kind of nice to try something on and not have to return it because I was able to try it on and be like, oh, this doesn't work, and just leave put it back on the shelf.
Don't have to go to UPS.
Right. Yeah, nice. Yeah, exactly. So but so we're just preparing. Your mom came over for a couple days to figure out. We took her drop off and pick up and
she'll be watching
what
the
they
boys.
eat and all that stuff. Yep. And I'm excited for them to have that time with her because they just love her so much. JR has her wrapped around not one finger, every single finger. Like he's the puppet master. So Jackson is too. Yeah. And
she's grandma.
So I'm fully prepared to break some new habits that are formed in those few days. But I mean, it's worth it. We don't get that break with each other. Ooh, and the other thing, this is kind of business related, that we did, kind of influenced by Heather a little bit. Some not. But Heather actually typically when she can flies first class for anxiety reasons and a lot of reasons, and because it's just more comfortable and whatever. And we've never flown first class ever, and it was something that we always wanted to do. And you and I love listening to Steve Harvey, and one of the things he's said is fly first class.
Yeah, just once.
Yeah, because you'll never want to fly. What is it? Commercial coach, or coach again? Coach again. Yeah. And so that's what we're doing. Yeah. I was like, when we were booking it, and we had like a little bit of extra funds and savings. I'm like, I feel like this is the time. We compared the prices, and it wasn't a huge jump either. It wasn't like it wasn't double, it wasn't triple. Like, because sometimes it is double, triple, whatever.
It wasn't ridiculous.
And this, it was like I think $200 to $500 more. Right. And it was like, oh, okay, like that'll. And yeah, I'm excited to experience that because we never have, and I hope that it'll kind of be like that motivation that Steve.
I hate traveling.
I hate sucks.
I'm not afraid of flying,
right? No.
By any means or anything, but I hate going to the airport, doing that whole thing with the security line, with or without kids. It's not just kids.
Getting on, getting off.
And then also, those people that can't wait their turn. You land, they're the first ones up,
and then already in the aisle, trying to push
forward. Like, yeah, it's just you have to deal with all those people. In first class, they might be there. It's two per aisle.
Yeah.
And they might be there, but you know what? We were sitting back. Right. We had leg room.
Yep.
So if they're there, and then
you got to choose, I think we get to choose snacks. I think we get like a drink. I think there might even be a
even
meal.
If we don't get that,
right? Just the seat fact, alone.
Yeah, that we don't have to worry. And I mean, listen, it's no secret. We got a few extra rolls, so we need the room too. So it'll be nice.
I know. I always feel like I always make you be the buffer, the middle seat window or the whatever, because I'm always so self-conscious, am I oozing over into their space? Are they gonna want to use the armrest? And then now and then I it's always, I'd rather be plastered up against the window and uncomfortable with the window and you than with a stranger next to me.
But we won't have to do that this time.
Yeah, so and I'm really excited about it. That'll be, and hopefully it'll just be like a boost and a motivator for us to hey, if we can
live that lifestyle.
Yeah, if we can travel first class from now on or whatever or again in the future, it'll just be something. And hell, even if it's once, let's experience it once.
Yeah, if we're gonna do it on a trip, this is the trip to do it, because we're going to relax and have a good time. So even though we'll be worried the whole time about what's going on here. With the kids and grandma.
It was so funny. It was like grandma, we call her Nino because JR, when he was little, she would always call him Nino.
Right.
And so he would call her Nino back because he didn't know.
For those who don't speak English, it means little kid.
Don't speak English?
Spanish. For those who only speak English, it don't speak Spanish.
Right. Yeah. And so now, even though she's grandma and she's not a little kid, we call her Nino. And doesn't it mean little boy too? Because it wouldn't. Yeah. So, and I'm sure people in public you're calling her Nino, but just don't ask. So Nino had been there just for a little bit, and she went to go change Jackson's diaper, and then she went to her room really quick to grab something, and then all of a sudden we hear crash, and Jackson the something hurts. Cry, yeah. And I think worst case scenario that he was on the changing table and she walked away and he fell, and I'm like, oh my god. And no, he was playing on his little chair thing, and it was a little toddler rocker, and he rocked it too far and rocked himself. But so it was the first I don't know 30 minutes or something, and I was like, oh, we're going to leave the country. Okay, great. And I mean, that stuff happens to us too. You think that they're behind you, and then all of a sudden you hear a crash and you're like, oh, so you're not right behind me and whatever. But it's going to be great.
And JR will tell her all the things she's doing wrong.
Oh my God.
Mommy and daddy don't do it like that. And
we warned her, thankfully, but he did that to me the other day when you
were sick.
And he
does it to her all the time.
Yeah, no, you're doing that wrong. This is not the way daddy goes, and this is not what daddy does, and this is can we put the windows down? And I'm like, I'm not daddy. My name is mommy. Okay. Yeah. But I mean that's pretty much it. We're just prepping
for that. I guess another laser thing. We got the glass that broke the last time that we talked about after that really rough day we had.
Yeah, we got the replacement.
So I ordered acrylic from Amanda to make the to vent the laser out of the window. Well, then after the glass broke and we were like just really thinking about like, okay, is that the best idea? Is that really how we want it to look? Like we were just thinking about all the things. We might just end up getting the filter box anyway.
Yep.
But I ordered the acrylic from Amanda, I don't know, like a week or two ago. And then I found a local glass place because we had to replace the glass we broke. And we went and got the replacement glass today, and it was literally the same day that Amanda's custom size acrylic.
And I had told her, I'm like,
up.
Instead of buying it, let's just patch it up. And when the acrylic comes in, we'll take that one and put it over.
Right.
So now we have like an extra.
Yeah. So yeah, now just in case we.
Maybe. Because if we do the filter box, then there's no need to put the acrylic.
Right.
You know what? I might test fit the acrylic there tomorrow and see what that looks like. It's before putting the actual one.
The actual glass?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to see. Because if we don't like it or whatever, then we just put the glass and wait for the filter box.
Yeah.
If we.
Well, you mean to vent?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll put it in there and mock vent it to see how it'll look and how
we
it
still
will
have to cut the hole and that kind of stuff.
Oh, it doesn't have a hole cut in it?
No, because remember we were still figuring out like what goes where and do we need room for tape? Well, we could easily cut the 6-inch hole on the laser because that's what I was planning on doing. I just had her cut the panel because we didn't really know, like, you know, we knew the size of the vent thing that we bought, but it was also the same size as the blast gate.
Right.
And so we were like trying to figure out like how we wanted to fit it. And then we needed like, do we need room for like tape or how we're attaching this? And so I didn't want to cut it at like, you know, the 6 inches or whatever for the hole. And then now we add the tape and now it doesn't fit. And then now I'm trying to cut 6 1/4 around 6 that's already cut. So I was like, I just had her cut the rectangle and then was going to cut the 6 in the laser. Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, that's a good idea. We have the acrylic. Yeah. We could try it and see. And if we absolutely hate it, then we order the filter box anyway. Yeah. But yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. Those are the ventures.
Yep. So what's going on? We'll double up this week with podcast.
Yes.
So while we're gone, you guys still get a show.
Yeah. And then Nina will be moving in a while.
In a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have her around.
Yeah. Maybe she'll be on short. She'll be on for a little bit.
We should. That would be fun. Everybody meet.
Just a little segment.
Meet Nino.
Just a little quick segment. Her on the show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she helped. She has to be busy at all times. Yes. It was so funny. So she was folding laundry the other day, and she thought she had finished all the laundry. And then she saw another laundry basket, and she was like, "Is that clean clothes?"
No, I rolled up the other one.
You rolled it up.
I rolled up. What was I getting? I was getting something out of like the dryer,
probably like a broom or okay, yeah.
And then I roll in with another basket that was still.
Her eyes lit up. Her and I, we 100% wired completely different. She doesn't know how to sit down, and I like sitting. And I hate laundry. I hate dishes. And she wants to do we had, like, when she would come visit, we'd literally be like, don't touch the dishes. Like, leave them alone. Yeah. Can you sit down? Can you hang out with us? Can
just
you,
relax.
you know,
it's your time to relax.
Yeah. Cause she hasn't done a lot of relaxing, but she doesn't know how to. That's how she works. But her eyes lit up when that extra laundry basket showed up and she had more to fold. She was like, oh, does that need to be folded? And she was like, her just the influx in her voice. And I'm like, we're not the same. But yeah, so I mean, our house has been cleaner since she's been here because the dishes don't last in the sink. They don't. The clothes don't last,
which is good.
The hampers, and so we'll have some additional help. But where I was going with that was that she helped sticker my keychain thingy packages.
So if you get some keychain thingies and the stickers a little sideways, Nino did it.
I'm trying to let it go. I'm working on it.
I'm working on. There might be a couple that I might have to adjust, but I mean, it was free help, and like she literally was like begging me. She's like, "Do you need to make more?" Like we made hundreds of them, and she's like, "Do you need to make more?" And I'm like, "No, I think we're good for now." We made like 400 or 500 of them. Yeah. So I'm excited though.
Yeah. So I say we go sit on the couch for a little bit.
Let's do it.
All right. Well, it's been another great episode of the Riley Black Project with Chris and John.
Bye.
Maybe we're all done.